Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to the One Bitcoin Show. Today is January the 7th, 2020. Strong hand. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. In motion. Value your wealth in Bitcoin. Offended by selling. Unconfiscatable. Compete, don't complain. All right, I've got that conviction. Do you? Hello, my elite friends. We're going to have a lot of time today, this afternoon, for you to ask questions. So ask those questions in the chat. You got to type in Bitcoin Meister or do a super chat so I see it. Oh, yeah, we got an afternoon show. Last night, I had to do 2 shows. The first one got erased, but I had conviction, did the show right over again. Check out last night's show, though, disruptmeister.com. Seriously, I put it out there. I did it twice. You should watch it. And over there at that show, I did talk about the Kraken situation, how they they admit that the governments of the world have come to them for information about clients, and they say which governments are interested in that. So I talk about that on yesterday's show. That won't be talked about today, but hey, that just is a little teaser so you can watch yesterday's show, because I noticed today CoinDesk was talking about the Kraken thing, and I had already talked about it last night. Remember, we are ahead of the news here, baby. This is your home of Bitcoin insider information. And check out Saturday's Beyond Bitcoin show, where I talk about subjects that go way beyond Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And Friday's This Week in Bitcoin show was rocking, of course. This Friday, we're going to have some new guests, hopefully, including, who do we have? Including, I have Brad Mills from Twitter. He doesn't work for Twitter. He's on Twitter. He's a Bitcoin guy on Twitter. He's got a podcast. He probably will be on the show on Friday. I don't know the times, but tune in here. You get a new show here every single day. Disruptmeister.com. And of course on Twitter, TECHBALT. That is TechBot. I've been tweeting out a lot of stuff, at least earlier in the day I was. And tomorrow I will be. I mean, that's part of the Bitcoin Meister ecosystem. Watching the videos, that's just half of it, man. You're learning throughout the day. If you're following me on Twitter, you're getting these articles that I'm talking about today. Already tweeted them out. Some of them probably. Who knows? Check it out. Sometimes I don't even know if these articles I tweeted out, right? But you're going to hear about the articles right now. So one thing everyone's got to do out there. Oh, you fiat freaks are happy today, aren't you? Well, you see, I'm always happy because we're one day closer to an all-time high, and just we're one day closer. So if it goes over 8,000, if it goes below 7,000, I don't give a. I know we're one day closer to that the day. 210,000 block theory. Look it up. We've talked about it in many shows before. But you got to stop wasting your time on these clickbait type of articles. Oh, and like. The dollar versus the Bitcoin. It's a distraction. The articles that say, oh, the dollar will never be surpassed by Bitcoin. It's to get you angry. It's to make you click. I mean, here's Cointelegraph, of course, is playing this. Though intriguing, crypto won't dethrone the dollar, says IMF economist. So, the IMF economist wants to get some headlines there. Says crypto won't dethrone the dollar. We've heard it a million times. Hey, Bitcoin can do fine, and it is doing fine in a dollar world, okay? We're in a dollar world right now, and Bitcoin is doing great. For those, you could cry and scream, these IMF guys are scaring me. I'm going to argue them. No, what you should be doing, and what many did for the last 5 years, is buy Bitcoin. And that just says, you know what? So maybe during these 5 years, a dollar will still be dominant. It was. Did you still do well? Yeah, you did freaking awesome if you got Bitcoin in this dollar world that we are. So it is such a long way away until Bitcoin could possibly surpass the dollar, okay? Right now, I mean, you go on the street, a lot of people won't even know what Bitcoin is. Do they have Bitcoin? Most people you meet in the street in first world wealthy countries? No. So look at there's a big gap between saying, hey, I'm sure we're going to have hyper Bitcoinization and where we are today, okay? So there's a lot of steps on the way where Bitcoin can grow and Bitcoin could do great. Imagine if 10% of the freaking world is using Bitcoin and storing their wealth in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is going to be worth a lot more then, okay? And so you're going to be darn happy, and it'll still be a dollar world. There's nothing wrong with that. So don't get too triggered by this stuff. I have said before, I think the 80 percenters are going to love the convenience of the digital dollar. Once it becomes gets into Fed coin form, they'll be able to pay their taxes in it and all their slave stuff that they do. Fine, that's great. And Bitcoin holders will do awesome also in the Bitcoin overlay. So we're going to do fine if the dollar remains super dominant among the masses, okay? I don't think it'll be super dominant among the masses, but definitely for this decade, we're going to be living in a dollar decade, okay? Bitcoin ain't taking over by the end of this decade in terms of payments or even in a store of wealth. All right, but preserve your wealth in Bitcoin and pound that like button. You don't have to play that game, and you don't have to worry about all these dollar clickbait articles. Now, speaking about clickbait, here's a real direct message I received on Twitter. Now, I receive similar things. I've described to you the shady stuff I get sometimes, but here's one, and you better believe I said straight up no to James C. So it's always an account, not very specific, generic, very generic type of account with no followers or few followers, and it's only been around since December or whatever. James C. But he's getting, people are saying yes to this. I said no. That is all my reply to this was no, and then I erased the conversation. Hello, I'm looking for a Twitter influencer. I have crypto-related articles to be shared. I'm willing to pay you for you to post it for me. Are you interested? All I said was no. But you got to believe many people are saying yes. So be careful out there. Be careful when you're like, oh, well, it's interesting. This person is posting about some article about a great exchange in China. Wow, I trust them. Better put my money there. Or some, this person's posting about an article about getting interest on your Bitcoin from some company I've never heard of. Better do that. Yeah, that's the reason people post about that stuff is because they're getting paid by it. I just showed you what. and this guy, James C., he doesn't work for one company. He works for like an agency that gets contacted by all these shady companies all over the place. They funnel it through the agency and then to people like me and then the few, the proud, the hardcore Bitcoiners say no. All right. Pound that like button for being hardcore, baby. Do not compromise your principles. And again, if you're a hardcore Bitcoiner, you don't need like $50 from some dude in China, okay? You've been buying Bitcoin all the way all along, and you don't need $50 to compromise your values. I mean, that's insane. It just the people that post this stuff, what do they own nothing. They don't stand for anything. They've gone back and forth. They're traders, and what do they have? They need to take bribes. All right. They don't need, but okay. No one needs to take a darn bribe. You got to stand for something, dude. You got to have conviction. You got to be able to do a show, and if it gets erased, you do the darn show over again. Check out last night. And yeah, I was tired last night. And yeah, today is a Jewish fast day. It's the 10th of Tevet. I haven't had a thing to drink all day, but that's no big of a deal because it's only 12 hours. The fast itself is only 12 hours. It'll be over in 2 hours, less than 2 hours. So CS2 sent me $10. Thank you. Friend, Bitcoin is the new gold. Me, no. The new gold is Bitcoin. Well, Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. And yes, I would say, well, I mean, yeah, it's better. It's gold 2.0 is what I say. That's another way of saying what you're getting around at saying there. But thank you very much for the $10 super chat. I do appreciate it. And again, look at this. You're on. If a person is honest, if a person stands for something, the money will flow to them anyway. Look, these guys are throwing me $10. I didn't have to compromise any values and get bribed by some guy named John C. or James C. on Twitter. Dude. All right. I swallowed my own saliva there, I guess, because I haven't had a darn thing to drink. All right, moving on. Has the halving hype started? Are we going to look back on the time period and say, oh, that's when the price started slowly moving up? just like the last time in 2016. Maybe not. If you're watching this in the future, tell future Adam if this is when the halving hype started. But all of you can hype the halving, because most people don't know about the halving. Use the halving hype hashtag when you're tweeting about a halving related subject matter. I haven't done that yet, but if you actually look up hashtag halving hype, it'll take you back to 2016 and you'll see, hey, Adam was using it back then. Yeah, I've been in this game a freaking long time, baby. Pound that like button. And yeah, leading up to that halving hype, I was getting excited and I kept buying Bitcoin. Oh, it's a good feeling now, isn't it? So, and maybe you might have that same perspective if you're watching this in 2024. If you were buying Bitcoin leading up to the 2020 halving hype, you probably got a big old smile on your face. You 2024 dog, you nasty dog. All right. What do we have there? No, you're not a dog. You're a freaking apex predator. The dog is not the apex predator, right? You're a unique freaking beast, baby. That's the apex predator. That's Bitcoin. Yeah, I talked about the Kraken report. I talked about that yesterday. Okay. Government agencies from all over the world, mostly the United States, and they gave them information. That's why you don't keep your Bitcoin. If your government says you're a criminal to Kraken, well, they got to take the government very seriously. So it's not your freaking Bitcoin if it's on Kraken. And I'm not picking on Kraken. I'm actually praising them for being honest about the information that they've been asked about and just making it public. All right. So is Tether, we talked about Tether yesterday also, and now we're going to talk about Tether a little bit more because something happened Tether related today. Tether becoming more private on the Liquid Tether. $15 million in US in Tether was swapped from Ethereum to Liquid. And this is from the great what's his face has been on my darn show before. Where's his it's linked to below, so check this out. Marty Bent has a story about this and it's informative. Check it out, linked to below. We may be witnessing the beginning of another Tether migration from ERC20, that's the Ethereum token, to Liquid. One thing the transition to ERC20 standard hasn't solved for Tether, because it used to be on even another something else. What it used to be on before ERC20. It's on a few other things now anyway. It hasn't solved for Tether users is the whale alert problem. And the whale alert problem is there's a Twitter feed called Whale Alert, and it shows whenever a bunch of Tether was moved between one account to the other. It is still very easy to track these transactions through the blockchain when you're trading in a hyper competitive market and putting a lot of capital at risk. That this isn't ideal. In my mind, again, Liquid fixes this using confidential transactions coupled with the ability to create wrapped Tether on the sidechain. Well, we may be witnessing the beginning of another Tether migration from ERC20 to Liquid. The transaction above, which is the 15 million transaction, may be the last whale alert. Last time Whale Alert is able to track the transfer of those 15 million Tether tokens. We'll be keeping an eye out on this for you freaks as it continues or dissipates. Well, thank you, dude, for keeping an eye on this. And I think it is interesting because, as I said, there are plenty of gamblers in this world, and if Liquid can make it easier for them to gamble, then hey, great. You guys, you big time gamblers are able to move more of your precious Tether around secretly. So keep an eye on that, Marty, for us. Thank you. So Stellar, let's talk about that. Yeah. Oh, I want to vomit when I hear Stellar because that's like what was that? A Ripple clone? I can care less about these things, but it's investigating the failed Stellar inflation experiment. So I say Stellar is an example of central planning combined with inflation gone horribly wrong. That's my line. And so many of you are into like hating on the dollar, but then at the same time, you're like, must diversify for the sake of diversification. Why not buy some Stellar? Well, I mean, Stellar is like the crypto dollar in a sense. They print a lot of it. It's centrally planned, and they try to micromanage it, and they use inflation to do that because they want it to be equitable. They want it to be fair. They're what everybody complains about. They say Bitcoin isn't fair. It wasn't equitably distributed, blah, blah. So they tried to play this game on Stellar. They wanted to make Stellar fair. So what happened when they tried to make Stellar fair? Fascinating report from blockchain. Wait a second. Yeah, so when you're worrying about fair distribution and inequity while employing inflationary tactics, you end up creating monsters like this. That's what I wanted to add. And so the fascinating report from blockchain archaeologist, yeah, that's what he calls himself, Kanib, today, finding that the stellar inflation rewards designed to distribute supply actually concentrated it in the hands of the foundation. Pure Cantillon effect. Okay, so they wanted to give it to the people, but it ended up being distributed in the hands of the foundation anyway. So, I mean, this is what central planning and inflation end up with, something you didn't plan on. So why not just let things go naturally, I say, just like with Bitcoin. Don't go with the gimmicks. The gimmicks are just going to lead you to a worse situation. But hey, at least they experimented, and you can see in this report, which I love Coin Metrics report. They go more into depth. You can check it out. There's quite a few reasons in here, quite a few lessons in here. Plans to distribute supply equitably often fail. Yeah, they always fail. Overly complex inflation issuance mechanics can be concentrative if dilution is the consequence of apathy. All right. So the Coin Metrics report, I always enjoy it. They talk about the Bitcoin price reaction to the terrorists getting blown up in Iran. Also, so you can check out that report linked to below. SA has he followed the rules. He typed in Bitcoin Meister. Do you trade your MWC into Bitcoin? If so, what exchange do you do that at? All right, you do that at Hotbit. It's linked to in yesterday's show. I believe it's hotbit.io. Please go to yesterday's show because I link to the exchange, the exact where it shows the price of the MWC in dollars and in Bitcoin. It was up to $1.50, which means on one Bitcoin, if you consider MWC to be interest on your Bitcoin, and you got your 41 MWC for every Bitcoin you had, it's 0.8% interest. I talked about it in depth on yesterday's show. Please check out yesterday's show. It is linked to below. It's easy to find, disruptmeister.com. I've talked about it 7 different times. So that is where the answer, the link that you are looking for is there, dude. The link that you're looking for, how to get rid of your MWC, is there, and to know the price of it. And that's the only place it's being sold at right now. And it's gone up in value quite, at first it was worth more, and of course it crashes, and then it's doubled recently for you fiat freaks, or it's doubled in terms of Bitcoin also. So yeah, this is where you get Bitcoin insider information, baby, where you know about crypto dividends, where you know that holding that Bitcoin, there are rewards. You get crypto dividends. You get interest on your freaking Bitcoin if you know what you're freaking doing. And you know what you're freaking doing when you're watching the Bitcoin Meister show, Bitcoin Meister channel, because there's a new freaking show every darn day. Pound it. Now, finally, and you can email me if you're not getting enough on this show, if you can't pay attention and you need me to directly talk to you, you email me, or you can DM me at TechBot, or email me at adam@tresorhelp.com. We can set up your crypto consultation. I can talk to you on the phone or on the Skype or the whatever for a half hour, for an hour, whatever, 15 minutes. We'll talk about your love life. No, we'll talk about anything you want to talk about. I assume it's going to be about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, but we can talk about anything. People think I'm good at making people pumped, getting them out of their doom holes. If you're in a doom hole, I can get you out of that doom hole, baby. You know I'm filled with energy, and getting it one-on-one, well, it's worth the price, baby. It's worth the price of admission. And yeah, there is a price of admission when you do a one-on-one with me. Of course, here it's totally free, and I appreciate the donations. Of course, you don't have to give me a darn thing. I say to freeload as much as you want to. Spread it on social media, though. You retweet it on Twitter or whatever you want to do, or just totally be a freeloader, because I think that's awesome. I don't know. You're learning, which is great. It's great. In the long run, it all comes back to me, all the positive energy. It's awesome. So here is speaking about Twitter. some people say this is their main source for Bitcoin development news and information. This link that I have below, Bitcoin Optech on Twitter. Bitcoin Optech on Twitter. I'm sure I've linked to them before and mentioned their stories. If you're one of those freaks that love Bitcoin development information and news, that technical stuff, follow Bitcoin Optech. The dude's got a newsletter, obviously, that the dude tweets out also. Quick reminder for those of you who are in Los Angeles right now. Right now in Los Angeles, it's Tuesday, January 7th, and it's 3:51 p.m. At 6:30 downtown. It's linked to below. Nick Baccia is speaking. They'll be talking about the Lightning Network. It'll be Bitcoin freaks. So if you're in LA right now, jump on the freeway, as they call it out there, or walk, as I like to do, but few people in LA do. Jump over Skid Row, get over to downtown LA, because again, Skid Row is the neighborhood that's right next to DTLA. I'm not exaggerating it. But go to this event. It'll be fun. And it's linked to below. You have you have less than 3 hours to get over there. But you could be late because it's LA and people are fashionably late. And finally, no, that was the end of the show right there. That's it. But OPSEC has a question, so I answer. How do you like your Airbnb? Do you recommend the Tucson area? This was a great freaking deal, dude. I like it a lot here. Do I recommend the Tucson area? It's laid back. If you're looking for super excitement of a major United States city, you're not going to find it here. And I like laid back. I like quiet. I like inexpensive. I like safety. And there is safety, although there are some nasty looking bums and homeless and drug addicts out there. So if you have a car, it's probably probably a chance of it being busted into more so than like in Boise or something like that. Okay. Hey, dude, it's a lot safer than Baltimore here, but there are some meth addicts out there. They look like hobos. It's a different type of bum out here. And they'll talk to you. Well, it's avoidable. It's avoidable. Just pointing. Beautiful scenery. The mountains are beautiful. You see those mountains, and then it's like 70 degrees outside. You're like, this is cool. So I will be here until next Tuesday when I take a bus out to El Paso. That bus only costing me $3 or $3.50 or something. So really looking forward to being in El Paso. But yeah, Tucson's great. It's cheap. If you're starting to get on that Airbnb thing, you're trying to have not to have a permanent home, this is a place to check out because it's a good starter place. And I actually can link to this. If people are really curious, you can DM me. I can send you the exact place that I'm staying at. It's small, but dude, I don't care about the size. I don't need a 1-bedroom. I've mentioned this before. That's all ego. Okay. There's people like, I must have a 1-bedroom. Ha, ha, ha. It must be in a certain neighborhood. Ha ha ha. Because again, I don't think this neighborhood is the best neighborhood in Tucson. It isn't. It actually isn't. I'm from freaking Baltimore, so it's fine. It's safe. And it is really clean here. It's totally remodeled. It is also. So very good question. That's a little beyond Bitcoin for the end of the show. I know people are always curious about how I live this lifestyle in the Bitcoin overlay, just traveling around the whole world, going wherever I want to based on, I found the cheap place, better go out there. And that's why I had been to Tucson once before, so I was comfortable with everything already. But once I saw they had this deal, I'm like, I got to come back there. I got to come back here. I'm getting a good deal here. But anyway, that's the Meister life. I'm Adam Meister. It's great not to have a home, not to pay property taxes and insurance, and it's so overhyped. But check out my Saturday shows for information about that kind of thing. And you can ask more questions like that on the Beyond Bitcoin shows. I'm always happy to talk about that. So I'm Adam Meister, Bitcoin Meister, Disrupt Meister. Remember, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, pound that like button, bang that bell button. You might get an extra show really soon. You might be getting a flashback show soon, guys. Spread the word. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.